So I want to address four main common bulking mistakes and hopefully you can avoid them going forwards. Now, the first one I want to talk about is surplus. I see so many guys, they go into a bulk and they just kind of eat everything in sight and there's no control. So what we want here is ideally we want to be within a 20% surplus. We don't want to be higher than that because if we're higher than that, all we're going to do is gain a load of body fat. And what happens when we gain a load of body fat is our insulin sensitivity is impaired. Now, what do we mean by this? In layman's terms, if we really make this simple, when you eat carbohydrates, you will shuttle some of that glucose into the muscle cells and you will shuttle some of it into fat cells as well. When your insulin sensitivity is impaired and you are now becoming more resistant to those carbohydrates, you will then shuttle more of the carbs into those fat cells. And if you're getting more and your body fat's getting more and more out of control, all we're going to find is we're going to push them more into those fat cells, which is not what we want. We want to be in control of your body fat. And ideally, that 20% is going to keep you in a position where you can still be fairly lean. I'm going to put a photo on the side here. This is currently my position. I'm pushing a bulk. You can still see that my midsection is quite tight. Now, tying in with insulin sensitivity and pushing body fat way too high, what happens is when you push your body fat far too high, is we have a lot of inflammation and your body ends up secreting what's known as cytokines. Now, we don't need to delve into that. We don't need to know much about that. But what we do need to know is when we do secrete them, then your immune system is going to be constantly under pressure. So fighting things, it's going to be releasing these inflammatory bodies into the system of the body. Recovery is going to be majorly impaired, which is the exact opposite of what we want, especially if you're adding in a lot of carbs, a lot of fuel to your body, and you're lifting heavier weights, which you primarily will do during a bulk. The last thing we want to be doing is adding more pressure to the body. We're already adding enough with the training side of things and systemic fatigue. So it's really, really important that we keep the body fat under control so that we eliminate number two as well. Because otherwise, if we go too far with the surplus, insulin sensitivity, then the inflammation, and it kind of just, it's this feedback loop and it just goes round and round and round. Now, number three, what I want to cover, this is more prevalent, especially if you've been in a bulking period for 2 to 3 weeks and longer, and and especially 2 to 3 months, should I say, really, is you're going to be pounding food for a long period of time. Now, if you are pounding a lot of food here and you're getting in a lot of volume, digestive issues, you're struggling to digest that food. Now, what could be an example? Well, if you're getting acid reflux, right? This is just a generic one, then that could be possible signs that you've got low stomach acid and you're really struggling to break down protein. Again, insulin sensitivity. If you're constantly having sugar cravings and you're finding that your blood sugar is not regulated, again, that's going to have issues with digestion of carbohydrates. And again, you might be adding in certain fats and you might not be producing enough bile and breaking down those fats. So whatever it is, I fire over every client that's struggling with these digestive issues. I'll fire over a digestive form and we'll go through those symptoms. Now, that makes up 25% of a diagnosis. And then from there, we'll look at blood works if it's relevant. Now, obviously, not everyone needs to do that, but some people definitely do. And I definitely recommend looking into certain parts on that front because then you can start to look at. And then the biggest thing that people tick often is with this, the use of food, tobacco, alcohol, as a means and ways as a stress relief. So whatever it is with digestion, we need to get to the bottom of it. Again, a massive one here, stress, huge. How can we manage that? Sometimes it's not a food thing. Sometimes you might even have these two in a decent place. But we even then, let's say your maintenance calories are 3,000, then it would be 3,600 would be 20%. That's a decent figure. It's not loads of food. It's not 7,000 like a mass monster. It's still a good amount, but it's not, but if we've got this under control, but you're stressed up to your eyeballs with work and other things that are setting it off, then we could have digestive issues. Now, the final thing is it's very easy with this to neglect it. If we're pushing towards 4,000 calories, the first thing that we see people getting complacent with, even top bodybuilders, they just go, oh, I'm not going to have my fruit and veg. So important with micronutrient complex to have them in. We need to get an adequate amount of fiber within the diet, and we need to have a top quality micronutrient breakdown in there. And it's so common. People will eat loads of junk. They'll go to Five Guys, they'll get a burger and fries. It's okay to do that every couple of weeks if we need to get sufficient calories in, but we need to make sure that we're getting in top quality food. Just because you're dieting doesn't mean that your diet is just going to consist of chicken and broccoli. And just because you're bulking doesn't mean that you can now just start going over and eating all kinds of junk food and just getting in your calories from any means and ways possible. So I hope all of that makes sense. Put down in the comments what you'd like to see for future videos, any further mistakes that you feel like you've been making, or things that you might be particularly struggling. And I'll be covering these on the whiteboard every single week.